feel good from top to bottom. And so to start, I would invite you to take a comfortable seat, sitting up on a blanket if you have one, to bring your hips upon and let your knees drop forward, giving you a nice stable seat, but allowing a little bit of space so that you can feel supported, but begin to also enjoy some space and openness. So I would invite you to close your eyes to begin. And I'm going to just take a moment, a brief moment of silence. You're going to hear a chime, and then we're just going to sit in silence for maybe 30 seconds or maybe a minute before we begin practice. So with your eyes closed and your seat established, we will begin. Taking a moment of silence as we begin the practice is a wonderful way to center yourself, to strip away everything that's not important, and simply remind ourselves that the most important priority is just to be. So feel yourself present in this moment, grounded and supported, and feeling your breath lift you like gentle wings, allowing any burdens to be lifted and removed. And just enjoy the feeling of your body in space, your body in this moment. And then take a breath in that's perhaps a little bit longer. And as you inhale, make an intention to hold that breath for a second or two at the top. And then release it fully. Very nice. You can open your eyes. And we're going to change the position to start with, giving ourselves a little bit of an opening in the upper chest to begin. So let's come off of the blanket that we were sitting on, and you can just fold that blanket over or make it into a loose blanket roll. And we're going to lay down. So bring yourselves into a supine position. And just bring the support directly under the base of your shoulder blades. So you can feel the supporting shoulder blades as you lay down over that blanket. And you'll feel, consequently, your breastbone, your heart propelled upward. Let's bring the arms out and just make a cactus arm, or you could outstretch them all the way if you prefer, palms up to the ceiling. And just feel yourself opening to the sky, the entire front body, spacious and open. Let go of any tension in the knees, in the ankles, in the fingers or wrists, just allowing your fingers to curl gently upward. Collarbones gradually pulling away from the center line, and feel your throat create more space for the breath. Your head dipping back ever so gently. And just take a few breaths here, allowing yourself to feel supported, grounded. Perhaps imagine yourself lying someplace beautiful in the out of doors, someplace that inspires you. Maybe a beautiful field of grass, maybe the sand on a beach. Perhaps on a blanket in the forest, with the majesty of the trees growing up around you. Again, just taking a minute, slowly inviting your body to accept and embrace this time spent being present, safe and grounded. Every day is such a gift. We woke up this day, and what a miraculous thing it is to have another day of life to move through. Finding gratitude for this every single morning is such an affirming way, such a positive way to begin each day. Just follow your breath. Allow it to lead the way and rest in the assurance that it is there to serve you no matter what is needed. Let's take 3 or 4 more breaths here. More breath in together, and just as we did at the very top, make an intention to hold that breath for a second or two. Feel the life force within you, and then fully release it out. And to slide your feet up to the mat, soles of the feet with your knees bent. And we're going to gently roll to one side and come on up. Back up to the top and come to a seated position. Starting off with your legs outstretched. Let's gently lift those arms now up, out, and overhead, reaching the fingers skyward. Invite the lungs to open with the breath and exhale, gently fold forward, bringing your hands down on either side of your legs. Gazing between your feet as you guide both your vision and your heart forward. Allow yourself to drop down, taking the next few breaths to just slide into the space that is opened for you. Relax your quads, relax your knees. Let your shoulders drop down away from your ears. Let's take one more breath here. Next inhale, begin to stack those vertebrae again, lifting all the way back up to the top. We're going to bend to the left knee and bring the left knee to the outside, left foot to the inner right thigh, opening the left hip gently. You've got that blanket. If you prefer, you can always bring the blanket under your knee or thigh if that's a little too intense. To just let it drop all the way down. Kind of feel your way into Janusirsasana. And then once you've created that initial shape with the legs, we're going to stretch that right leg forward. So we're just going to push that right leg a little bit more forward from the left. Your hips are still planted down, so we're not really moving the body, but we are just shifting a little bit into the pelvis. Inhale up once again. Let's lift the arms. And exhale, fold forward. Again, maybe you've got a little bit more room to slightly shift the right hip forward and the left hip back. Feel into the lower back and glide down slowly, guiding your heart just to the inside of the right leg. Breathe into your lower back, into the pelvis, reaching deeply into that left hip capsule, into all the connective tissue of the lower back. More breaths here. And come up. And let's change that position of our legs. So take that to the other side. Bending the right knee, letting the position of the leg drop out. Kind of feel how that feels. Notice if there's any change from one side to the other. You may have an entirely different experience, and that is completely appropriate. So lift up through your body, arms reaching up. Give a little bit of an upward stretch, and then exhale, come forward. As your hands eventually touch down, maybe push that left foot a little further toward the front, and you'll notice just the tiniest, most subtle turn of the pelvis. And then drop down little by little. This is a soft, sweet, slow drifting forward. The area of the lower sacrum to relax. Feel that area between the hip and the pelvis. Gently release. breaths here. Slowly come on back up. And we're going to come to a position of all fours on our hands and knees. So let's come to a tabletop, or what's sometimes called a quadruped position. So coming into a nice square table position with the hips and the knees stacked and your hands, your wrists, elbows, and shoulders nicely stacked. Once you've created some support, you're going to feel a little bit of engagement into that belly, so we're not going to worry too much about how much you're pulling in. So just get a nice square so you feel really stable. And then we're going to lift up the right knee, and we're going to circle the right knee around. And here we want to make sure that we're not shifting the rest of the square box around. So you're holding your other three limbs in the same position as you began, and then aiming for as wide a range of motion as is appropriate for you. This is going to be different for all of us, but where you're going to find the ability to increase that range of motion is if you engage into the glutes. So let the glutes propel the leg around. Just feel into the motion here. Around you go. And as you do, we're going to be getting deeper into the hip as the start to loosen up and get some circulation. Let's do one more time around. And then we're going to take that right knee behind the left knee and create Gomukhasana legs, where we separate the feet. Now feel free to take a block and sit down on the block, or I invite you to sit back. Either way, you can sit down on the block, or you can sit down right between your feet and allow yourself to come to an upright position. Take a moment, settle in, make sure that you feel equal weight dropping down in the hips. You're going to be a little bit lower on one hip than the other, but you want to kind of feel equally weighted and not shifting your weight to one side. So see if you can lift up through your spine. Take a moment, kind of settle in, make sure that there's nothing catching or painful, of course. And then once you've got your hips in place, lift your arms up. Again, bring them overhead. Your left fingers are going to reach down toward your right, top of your right shoulder. And your right hand is just going to gently be placed on your left elbow. And you're going to guide that left elbow back. Lift up nice and straight through your spine. Now, if your arms don't come straight up, if they're coming forward, that's okay. Everyone has different range of motion in their shoulders, so yours may be a little bit more forward. If you can, if they do reach up, then you're going to reach straight up. This would be considered full flexion of those shoulders, so that's just not available to everyone. Feel into the stretch under the tricep, and then I want you to shift your attention back down to the hips and relax those hips. They had started to tense up, hadn't they? They always do when we take the attention away from where we're trying to direct the relaxation. So this is a lot going on in Gomukhasana. Let's take one more breath here. Exhale, release your arms down. And then we're just going to walk the hands forward. So place them on the mat. Walk back up. Uncross the legs. And then we're going to begin that sequence on the other side. So create your square box to start. Remember, we're going to create the structure that's going to support as we lift that left knee up rather, and circle the knee around. So we're rotating the hip. Of course, the action is beginning with the glutes and the hip, but just think about your knee kind of creating, if it was drawing a big line in space, drawing around and around, trying to create a perfect circle if that was possible, just so that you're kind of encouraging yourself to reach into your full range of motion on the hip. Take it nice and slow. We don't want to use momentum here. We want to use an intentional engagement of the muscles. All right, one more time around. And then take that left knee back, cross it over the right, separate the feet again. So really press them out toward the edges of your mat. And we're going to sit down in cow-faced posture one more time. Gomukhasana. So this time your left hip is going to be a little bit lower than the right, but find your seat. Let the weight drop down. Just take a moment to make sure that you're feeling that the spine is lifting up in the center. You're not off kilter on one side or the other. And then try to relax down into those hips. Sometimes it takes a little mindful awareness to let those hips and legs relax. Once you're there, let's lift up the arms. This time your right fingers are going to reach down toward your left, top of your left shoulder, and your left fingers will just reach for your right elbow. See if you can lift up a little bit through your spine so you're not hunching forward, but keeping your spine nice and long. Think about the crown of your head reaching up. And then once you have that nice full stretch into the arms and shoulders, you can feel it under the tricep. Let your attention drift back down to the hips and relax. Breathe softness into the hips. All right, one more breath. Release your arms. Let the hands walk forward. Come right back up to table position. From tabletop, we're going to come into a we're going to come into deer pose. I was trying to decide if I wanted to go there. Yeah, we're going to come into deer pose. So just bring your position into what we usually think of as deer pose. There's a little space between your heel and your knee, so the legs are sort of pinwheeled around. They're not on top of each other, but there is some space there. So you're definitely sitting on one hip, again, more than the other. We're going to turn away and take this into a little twist. So we're going to turn away, whichever direction you started on, turn away from your feet and bring your hands to the other side of your thigh. Press down into the fingertips and give yourself a little leverage to lift up. And then let that back hip lift up just a little bit more from the mat so that you can engage into the twist. And just stay here. We're not going to try to fold down. We're just turning the spine. Little by little, you may feel more space and begin to open up as the twist comes up to the top of the spine. So we start with that pelvis always, allowing whatever space is available to turn from the base down and then move up through the body. All right, Turn back toward the front. Let's just change the direction of the legs. So it doesn't matter which side you started on, you just take the opposite side. Right. Create that pinwheel shape with the legs, hands away from the feet, and let that back hip kind of let it go, just let it lift up. It needs to do that to help us with the spiral of the spine. So lift that up, turn toward the outside thigh, and then grow the spine as long as you can, reaching but not straining, and then engage in the twist. Allow yourself to turn little by little away from the feet. If you want to eventually turn your neck, that's up to you. You may have a little bit of room to turn the neck, maybe gazing slightly over the shoulder, but that's not the goal. The goal is just to feel your body in motion, fluid and graceful as you allow the spine to reach into the twist. And then turn back to the front. All right. So let's come back up to our hands and knees. And you know what? I didn't have this in here, but let's take a couple of cat-cow. I just think that might be nice after the twist to establish natural curves and range of motion forward and back. So just take a couple of cat-cows as you move back into quadruped. And then from our table position, we're going to come into a lunge. So let's bring the right foot forward. Take your hands to your blocks, lift the left knee up, and come into a nice starting runner's lunge. Feeling a nice support all the way down through the tibia, straight down into the ankle. Bones are stacked. When you really feel the weight dropping down into the bones, then you know that you are grounded and steady. Your left leg is now getting this first stretch of the day. My guess is you haven't done anything to really stretch into the Achilles yet today, so let's just take that sweet and slow. And then from this initial runner's lunge, take your left hand, keep it on the block. Your right hand is going to sweep up and lift as you reach it to the sky. Let's take a twist. Reach those fingers high. Let your neck relax. Take the right hand back down to the block and lower the left knee slowly down, dropping it into a low crescent position. You can keep those left toes curled or you can flatten the foot. It's really just a personal preference of where you feel more supported. Lift up and just come to fingertips. So lift your heart a little bit higher. Maybe use your back muscles to propel the heart forward. Drop your shoulders down and away from your ears. If it helps, you can bring those blocks on a taller position so that you really have a feeling of ease. Even though you are reaching, you're definitely engaging here. How's your breath? Let's let it flow. Nice. And then come back up, lifting that left knee back up from this position. We're going to stay in the runner's lunge, and then we're going to lift all the way up, releasing the hands from the block. So you're going to press down through that front right leg. Use a little bit, or maybe a lot, of quad support. Your right leg is now engaged. Your left leg, the glute is firing up. Hamstrings, all is in a nicely engaged position to hold you strongly in space. And then we're going to step forward, a nice big step toward the front of the mat. Arms reach up, fingers to the sky. Take a little back bend, just reaching slightly behind you to gaze upward. And exhale, forward fold, coming with the hinge of your hips down, hands back down to the blocks once again. From here, let's lift up halfway, coming to a flat back position. Draw in through the navel, prepare to lift all the way up and stabilize yourself as you hinge back up to the top. Bring your right hand down by your side, the left arm over the ear. Take a beautiful crescent. Ooh, pop, pop, there went my back. I always get a little bit of adjustment each time I take my crescents. Maybe you feel that too. That's all right. Bring your right arm up, bring your left arm down, and again, take it directly over the ear. Bring the left arm back up and exhale. Fold down, come back down. And step the right foot back. Nice long step into runner's lunge on this side. So you want to have a little bit of space between your feet. You're not on a tightrope here. You're leaving space so that your hips can feel at ease. Your back is getting a nice stretch. You're reaching the crown of your head forward. And again, stacking the bones from the knee straight down to the heel using the strength of your legs. Keep your right hand on your block. Let's take the left arm out, move it into a twist here for our lunge. Chest is turning. Keep the breath flowing. Deep inhale. Exhale. Take the left hand back down to the block and lower the right knee. Deep stretch into that right iliopsoas. This is a wonderful stretch to release tension and compression in the lower back. So just take this slow. This is a very deep and important muscle, probably one that gets tightest of all due to our lifestyle of sitting, even walking and running can actually make this so as tight, because we use it every time we bring our knees forward. Come up to fingertips here, just lifting up a little bit more as you engage into that stretch, but press your heart forward now, thinking about your upper body as well. Breathe into your heart space. And then bring your hands back to the position of holding your blocks. Lift up to runner's lunge, and then we're going to lift all the way up. So press down into that left foot. Let your hands reach forward. Beautiful, strong runner's lunge. Legs are fired up. That right hamstring is working. Breathe. And then step forward, a nice step forward up to Urdhva Hastasana once again. Lift up and then exhale. Take a little back bend, just letting the whole front line of your body receive this open space. Beautiful gift of this day. Exhale and forward fold. From this forward fold position, step your left foot back. And then we're going to turn both feet, turn your toes to the left side. Walk your hands around in a wide leg forward fold. You can keep your fingers, you can keep your hands down, or you can always bring blocks around as well, and those can be your support system. Remember to let yourself drape forward, releasing tension through the upper back, but feeling the support lifting up like an invisible column of support right in the center. That's coming right into your core. Adductors, your inner thighs, are engaged as you help support this structure. Lift up to fingertips position and lengthen your spine as long as you can. Head and tailbone reaching away from each other. Exhale and fold forward once again. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, lift up and extend. Hold that extension. And exhale, fold it down. Place your left hand down on the block or the mat underneath your head. Reach your right arm out, bring it out into a T off the shoulder, and then slowly turn into a twist, raising your right arm to whatever degree feels appropriate. You can come all the way up, or it can stop anywhere you feel the restriction in your body naturally give you a signal. Pay attention to those signals. That's why we go slowly. That's why this is called mindful yoga flow. Take the right hand down and forward fold. Come up to fingertips position. Let your strength come into the core. We're going to rise all the way up. Lift up, up, up. Bring your arms out to 5-point star. Fingers reaching as far away from each other as possible. Flip your palms up and reach your hands upward. Fingers placing gently one upon the other. Find your mate on the other hand. And then bring your thumbs down toward the base of your skull, lifting up your elbows once again. Another lovely stretch under the armpits and triceps. Bring your hands back up and out and sweep it down, hands down to the mat. Walk the hands back around to the front. And from here, we're going to take a left foot forward, forward fold. Rise up, pausing halfway to really collect yourself, engage in the core, and then all the way back up we go. Beautiful. Exhale, hinge forward and fold again. Step your right foot back this time. Turn your toes toward the right side of your mat and come back to that wide leg position. Head drops forward. Feel your support kicking into the center. Lift up. This is really good for work with the pelvic floor as well. So you're engaging in those inner muscles, in the low abs, in the inner thighs. Lift up to fingertips position. Again, lengthen your head forward, your tailbone back. If someone was stretching you in both directions, can you energetically create that space for yourself? Exhale and fold down. Inhale, lift up to fingertips one more time. Let that breath really flow through your body. Exhale and fold. Place your left hand down on the mat under your head. Your right arm sweeps out into a T, and then turn and twist to the left, reaching your arm out and up. Beautiful. Keep that breath flowing. One more breath. exhale, bring that left hand down and fold. Walk your hands back around to the front of your mat. Step the right foot forward and take your hands to your blocks. Turn your toes out and leave a generous space between your heels. We're going to sit down in a squat coming to Malasana. So allow your seat to come down between your heels, or you can build a seat using your blocks for support. Remember that that's always an acceptable and encouraged modification to find support in Malasana squat. So take your desired position. Either one is fine. You're still opening those hips. You're still lifting up through the spine. Remember that your heels can either be up or down. It really depends on your anatomy. Bring your hands together at your heart and perhaps take your elbows just to the inside of your knees. I'm going to take about 4 breaths here, 4 or 5. So let yourself soften into the hips as you allow them to open, lengthening through the low back, releasing tension there. Breathe into your lower pelvis. Again, releasing any tension. Breathe into your creative space. Beautiful chakra energy of creation in the lower part of the body. One more breath. And you can bring your hands away from your chest, bring them down to the mat. Help yourself out of your seat. Maybe remove the blocks if you were using those. And we're going to come down onto our belly. So coming into a prone position, we're going to come to Sphinx pose. Bringing your elbows underneath your shoulders, or perhaps just a little bit forward of them. Allow your feet to widen. Just let them be relaxed and wide, whatever width feels good to you. If you can, bring your heels a little bit further out than your toes, so bring yourself to a little bit of a pigeon toe position. Instead of having the toes out, let's curl them slightly in and let the ankles drop out. So we're feeling support from the pubic bone, but we don't really need to do anything particularly to clench or engage. You're just going to feel your pubic bone pressing down into the mat. And then imagine a flow of energy rising up from that pubic bone all the way up to your chest. Feel your heart reaching forward. Your hands are open, your fingers are wide. Breathe here. If for any reason this creates discomfort in your neck, I know if you have any sort of injury or debilitation in the cervical spine, sometimes it can be difficult to hold the head in this position. You can always take a block, place it on the tall side, and allow your forehead to rest on that block. See if you can let your shoulder blades slide a little further down your back. One more breath here. And just bring your arms forward, cross your arms in front. Allow your head to drop down on your arms. Relax your entire body in Makarasana, crocodile pose. Lift up from here and press ourselves up. Come on to all fours position once again. Widen your knees, bring your big toes into touch. We're going to thread the needle. You can open your right arm up and then let it glide down and underneath the left and rest on your right shoulder and just behind the right ear. Now feel that nice stretch across the upper back. A little bit of pulling away between the shoulder blade and the arm. Gives you a little bit more space reaching under the scapula. With your left arm, you can take that up and around if you wish. Bring it to the lower back, or maybe even reach down into the hip crease of your right leg. Bring the left hand back down to the mat. Lift back up to all fours position, and we'll take that to the other side. You can open the left arm out, get a nice little open stretch, and then carry it down and underneath the right. Rest down on that left shoulder. And if you have any challenge bringing the body all the way down to the mat, if there's a restriction where you feel yourself sort of hovering above the mat, then I would encourage you to take a blanket and bring it underneath the left shoulder. It can be as tall as you need it to be, because I want those shoulders, I want the shoulder touching down to feel completely supported. Okay, so this isn't something where we're trying to hold ourselves in space and clench up. We're trying to release and relax. If you want, you can take your right arm up and around. If that feels good for your anatomy, you can take it to the back and just get a little different stretch on the right arm. But again, we're not straining, we're not pushing into this shape. We're just going to let the body be. Let the natural progression of the space open up. Bring that right hand back down. Press yourself up. Come up to all fours position. And then the one that we haven't done today, let's move into child's pose. Let's reach the arms forward. Stretch your arms. Let your belly rest down on top of your thighs. And just let your head drop all the way to the mat. If that's possible, pressing your third eye down toward Mother Earth.
more breaths here. And begin to lift yourself back up. Let's come off of the knees. Roll down to our back for the final few minutes of practice. So come down, let your spine relax all the way. Bend your knees and just let your feet be planted on the mat for a moment. Just let yourself reorient to this different position in space. And then let your feet heel toe out to the edges of your mat. Open your arms wide once again, and then let both knees drop over to the left. So your knees are nice and wide. Letting both of your legs drop to the left. See if you can relax into that right quad. This is usually a very deep stretch for the right quad. So go gently. If this creates any difficulty or any twinges or pain in the knee, then just bring your legs a little bit more forward. Don't make the knee bend quite so much, and this will usually alleviate any sort of pressure or knee issue. Let's lift the knees up, bring them back up to the center, and drop them over to the right side. And just, again, particularly on the top leg, you're going to feel, or at least I do, you're going to feel a little bit more of an acute stretch into the quad. So we're going to relax from the hip bone all the way down to the knee. Breath be long and soft. And then bring your knees back up to the top. Extend your legs all the way down. Bring your hands down by your side. Cover up if you would like to, as we create perfectly soft, easy position for Shavasana. I'm just going to begin with a little body scan down at the toes, letting each toe mindfully relax in space. Feel the soles of your feet, the arches, relax, soften in. Really bring your mindful awareness to the arch of your foot. Almost as if it could absorb extra softness. And just like drawing it up like a straw, and allow that softness to roll up towards your knees. Relax all of the muscles of your knees. Tension between your knees and your thighs. Just let it smooth out. Let your lower belly drop down toward the earth. Let your organs be at peace. rib cage relax. Let your shoulders gently open and drop down to your side. Let your arms and your wrists and your fingers be soft. Breathe into the beautiful spot between your collarbones. Feel your throat muscles relax. Your tongue release. Your upper and lower jaw gently drop away from each other. Finally, let your eyes drop down into the sockets as your head and your eyelids smooth out. In this wonderful, sweet space, just allow yourself to be. Transition back. Just begin to move your toes and fingers, offering gentle movement in the air. Slide one foot and then the other to the mat. Perhaps offer yourself a little hug around your knees. Take a breath in and roll to one side. Take a beat and pause, and then eventually come back up. Find your seat once again.
arms up, reach them overhead. Deep breath in, and then hands to heart. The light in me is honored and grateful for the light of each and every one of you. Thank you so much for practicing today. Om Shanti and Namaste.